everyone, and welcome to the Literature Lounge, otherwise known as my English project. Today we will be discussing Sylvia Plath. But before we go any further, we will be touching on themes of suicide, mental illness, miscarriage, eating disorders, abuse, the Holocaust. If any of these themes are triggering for you, please click off now. Sylvia Plath's person. Before we discuss Plath's writing, it's important that we give a quick synopsis of Plath's life, because Plath's writing was heavily influenced by what she went through. Sylvia Plath struggled with mental illness starting during her undergraduate years at Smith College. Sylvia Plath was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and was treated with bouts of botched electroshock therapy sessions. Electroshock therapy was still in its infancy in the 1950s. Its full name is electroconvulsive therapy, and it basically induced a seizure in the frontal lobe of the brain. Later in the 1960s, ECT received a huge hit from the psychological community, and it steadily went out of use into the 1980s. There weren't medications like there are today for that disorder, so she basically was stuck with electroshock therapy. At age 20, Sylvia Plath attempted to commit suicide. She crawled underneath her family home and swallowed her mother's sleeping pills. She was found and survived the attempt. After her attempt, though, she was institutionalized at McLean Hospital, and she was treated with more sessions of electroshock therapy. Plath wrote about her experiences while at McLean Hospital in her book, BellJar. Plath graduated from Smith College and then decided to study at Cambridge University in England. That is where she met her future husband, Ted Hughes. They married in 1956 and had 2 children together. Ted Hughes was physically and emotionally abusive to Sylvia Plath, so it wasn't like it was some kind of fairy tale for her or a happy ending. Hughes beat Sylvia Plath while she was pregnant, and it caused a miscarriage a few days later. They separated in the following September, and Hughes ended up abandoning his family. Plath experienced a major bout of depression and a burst of inspiration after the separation. She wrote many of her most famous poems during this time, and they later were compiled and published in her book Ariel, 2 years after her death by her ex-husband Ted Hughes. In 1963, Plath committed suicide by gassing herself in an oven. Her 2 children were in the next room, but they were unharmed physically. Plath was buried February 16th of that year, and Plath was awarded the Pulitzer Prize of Poetry in 1982. Sylvia Plath's poetry. Sylvia Plath cultivated the genre of confessional poetry in the 1960s. Confessional poetry is known for highlighting sensitive themes that had been left out of literature before. The Poetry Foundation describes confessional poetry as private experiences with and feelings about death, trauma, depression, and relationships, often in an autobiographical manner. That definition is a little confusing to me. It's basically the poetry you wouldn't want to read at brunch with your grandparents. All of Plath's poems follow the genre of confessional poetry, but her poem Daddy is the most popular example of confessional poetry. It's not the best, but it's still the most popular. Here are small snippets of the poem, and yes, I will warn you, they're very problematic and kind of uncomfortable. We will discuss that later.
Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time. Marble heavy, a bag full of God, ghastly statue with one grey toe big as a Frisco seal, and a head in the freakish Atlantic where it pours bean green over blue in the waters off beautiful Nauset. I used to pray to recover you. Ach, du, an engine, chuffing me off like a Jew to Dachau, Auschwitz, Belsen. I began to talk like a Jew. I think I may well be a Jew. The snows of the Tyrol, the clear beer of Vienna are not very pure or true. With my gypsy ancestress and my weird luck and my Tarok pack and my Tarok pack, I may be a bit of a Jew. Not God, but a swastika, so black no sky could squeak through. Every woman adores a fascist, the boot in the face, the brute heart of a brute like you, and a love of the rack and the screw, and I said, I do. So, Daddy, I'm finally through. The black telephone's off at the root, the voices just can't whirn through. If I've killed one man, I've killed 2. The vampire who said he was you and drank my blood for a year. 7 years, if you want to know. Daddy, you can lie back now.
So let's first address the obvious. Plath's work clearly shadows the definition of confessional poetry. She is vulnerable, she uses grotesque language, and she voices her true and gross inner thoughts. Her poem's subject is Otto Plath, her father. He was a German immigrant and a honeybee biologist. He died in 1940, and Plath would later blame him for abandoning her family. Plath uses insensitive and problematic language when discussing the Holocaust. She compares her personal struggles with mental illness to the unspeakable horrors of the Holocaust. And she also wasn't Jewish. None of her family were Jewish. And even if she was Jewish, I still feel like her comparison is quite horrific. This poem was written close to the end of her life. Her poetry becomes blunter and more unforgiving because I believe she no longer cared what people in the outer world thought of her. Still, her writing is really problematic. Her book, The BellJar, was published in 1963, the year of her death. The BellJar is semi-autobiographical. It talks about her life at college and her struggles with mental illness. The events that we talked about earlier are all present within this book, but they are hidden behind a screen of disassociation. The BellJar is also a great example of the confessional genre, but it isn't poetry. Faces of a Demented Woman. Sylvia Plath's work and her life are contorted reflections of one another. She is a literary feminist icon, but she is also a truly scary and problematic author. Her ability to confess her darkest feelings, but shade and twisted as to distance herself from what she's writing, is a profound part of Sylvia Plath. This ability creates multiple different faces of her. She's a college-educated woman, a socialite, a writer, a feminist, a domestic abuse survivor, a mother, and a deeply problematic human being. I hope you enjoyed this video. All of my citations are going to be on the following slide. Thank you!